In ancient times, the concept of human sacrifice held a central place in many cultures and religions. People believed that their gods required offerings to maintain harmony between the divine and the mortal realms. Sacrifices were performed to secure good harvests, seek favor in times of war, or avert natural disasters. Among these offerings, human sacrifices were the most extreme form of devotion, a tragic yet deeply symbolic act intended to prove a community's loyalty to its deity. But how exactly were these individuals chosen? How were they prepared for such a grim fate? And what was the experience like for the selected sacrifice on their final day? This exploration dives into the mysterious rituals and customs of ancient societies, unveiling the deep devotion and complex processes surrounding the sacrifice to the gods. The process of selecting a human sacrifice varied greatly from one culture to another, each with its own criteria and customs. In many societies, a sacrifice was often chosen based on purity, innocence, or a specific physical quality. For example, the Aztecs believed that only individuals with the right physical and spiritual attributes could be suitable offerings. They frequently selected prisoners of war, whose sacrifice symbolized triumph over enemies and was believed to please their gods. However, individuals from within their own community could also be chosen. Virgins, children, and even beloved members of society were considered ideal offerings due to their purity, which was thought to be more pleasing to the gods. In ancient Mesoamerican cultures, captives taken during battles were often deemed the most worthy sacrifices, as their blood was considered valuable to sustain the cosmic order. The Mayans similarly chose prisoners of war for many of their rituals, though there were occasions when individuals voluntarily offered themselves. This voluntary aspect was seen as an ultimate form of devotion, a willing return of life to the divine source from which it had come. In other cultures, such as those of the Celts, a sacrifice might be chosen by a form of divination or by drawing lots, leaving it to fate to decide who would be offered. This decision was believed to reflect the will of the gods. In some cases, specific individuals like priests or priestesses would interpret omens or celestial events to determine the most suitable candidate. The decision was rarely arbitrary. The community believed that the right choice was essential to ensure the gods' favor and prevent their wrath. Once chosen, the individual set to be sacrificed underwent elaborate preparation, often lasting days, weeks, or even months. During this time, they were treated not as a victim, but as an honored guest, or even as an incarnation of a deity. For example, in Aztec society, the sacrificial individual, often referred to as the Ixiptla, would live in luxury, adorned in fine clothing and jewelry. They were given the best foods and sometimes even worshipped by the community. This treatment was based on the belief that the sacrifice embodied the divine, making the offering more potent in the eyes of the gods. In many instances, the chosen sacrifice would be trained in various skills or rituals. They would be taught songs, dances, and prayers that were integral to the ceremony. These preparations were intended to elevate their spiritual state, making them more suitable for the gods. For example, a young girl chosen to be sacrificed to the Inca gods might be taught sacred hymns and dances and was adorned with elaborate garments, jewelry, and flowers. The Incas believed that such care and devotion would make the offering more pleasing to the gods and ensure their blessings on the people. In the ancient Near East, such as among the Canaanites, the sacrificial victim might undergo a ritual purification process, which included bathing, anointing with sacred oils, and dressing in ceremonial robes. This preparation was seen as essential to make the individual spiritually clean and worthy of being offered. Priests played a crucial role during this period, overseeing every aspect of the preparation to ensure that no detail was overlooked. Any misstep could be interpreted as a bad omen, suggesting that the gods might reject the offering. The final day of the chosen one was perhaps the most symbolic and poignant. This day was filled with rituals intended to honor the individual and prepare them for their transition from the mortal world to the divine realm. In many cultures, this day was marked by elaborate ceremonies, processions, and prayers, with the community coming together to witness and participate in the event. For the Aztecs, The final day began with the sacrifice being led to the temple, often at the top of a high pyramid. This ascent was deeply symbolic, representing the individual's journey from the earthly realm to the gods. Drums and flutes played continuously, creating an intense and otherworldly atmosphere. The Ixiptla, dressed as the god they represented, was surrounded by priests and attendants. Offerings of incense and flowers were made along the way, with the community watching in awe and reverence. In the case of the Incas, the young girls chosen for sacrifice, known as capacocha, were often led in a procession to a high mountain peak. The journey itself was significant, symbolizing an ascent to the gods. On the final day, the sacrificial individual was given a ceremonial feast. They were dressed in their finest clothes, and there was a sense of quiet reverence among those present. The offering was not seen as a death but as a journey, a unification with the gods. The sacrifice would be given coca leaves to chew, and sometimes an intoxicating drink, which helped to ease their fear and induce a trance-like state. For the Celts, the sacrificial ritual would take place in sacred groves or near bodies of water, which were considered conduits to the divine. The final day was often filled with prayers and invocations to the gods, asking for their presence and blessings. The sacrificial individual, having been purified and adorned, was brought to the sacred site, often with great ceremonial fanfare. They were accompanied by druid priests who chanted hymns and performed incantations. The sacrifice, whether it was by fire, water, or blade, was believed to release energy that the gods would then use to bless the community. The actual act of sacrifice was the culmination of the entire process. It was performed by a priest or spiritual leader, someone believed to have the ability to communicate directly with the gods. The methods varied. Some cultures preferred a swift death, such as the Incas, who often used suffocation, believing it to be a peaceful way to pass into the afterlife. The Aztecs, however, performed more dramatic sacrifices, such as removing the heart while it was still beating, offering it to the sun god Huitzilopochtli as a way to ensure the continuation of the universe. The aftermath of the sacrifice was just as important as the preceding rituals. The body, or parts of it, might be offered to the gods through fire, buried in a sacred place, or displayed in a manner that signified the completion of the ritual. Among the Celts, parts of the sacrifice might be placed in rivers or lakes, offerings to water deities. The Aztecs, meanwhile, sometimes displayed the skulls of sacrificial victims on racks, known as tzompantli, which served as a reminder of the power of the gods and the devotion of the people. In every case, the sacrifice was seen not merely as an ending, but as a transformation, a release of the individual's essence to become one with the divine. It was believed that the sacrificed individual would intercede on behalf of the community, ensuring prosperity, fertility, and protection. The practice of human sacrifice in ancient times reveals a great deal about the values, beliefs, and fears of those cultures. It was an act of profound significance, involving careful selection, elaborate preparation, and ritualized final moments. Though tragic and difficult for us to comprehend today, for the ancients, it was the ultimate expression of faith, a necessary offering to ensure the favor of the gods and the continued survival of the community. Each step of the process, from the selection of the individual to the rituals of the final day, was imbued with symbolism and deep meaning intended to bridge the gap between humanity and the divine. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more fascinating content. Your support means a lot, and it helps us continue creating videos like this. See you in the next one.